Hey everybody, welcome to Culinary Characters Unlocked. I'm David Page. On this episode, he went from general manager of the #1 ranked restaurant in the world to cook on a food truck to successful restaurant owner in Beverly Hills. Here's Nicolas Fanucci. Nicolas, thank you for joining me. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me on your show.
When we were arranging this conversation, the person on your staff who was making it happen told me that you can share the secret sauce behind running iconic restaurants successfully. Let's start there.
All right.
What's the secret sauce?
Secret sauce to run a great restaurant is to surround yourself with the best people, to be very understanding, and to have the utmost hospitality.
Do you have to want to make people happy?
You have to, yes, that has to be your goal. The guests have to be the prime focus on from all your team. So I was working, obviously, we talk about Thomas Keller and the French Laundry. You know, we always say that nobody works for Thomas Keller or nobody works for the French Laundry, but everybody works for the guest. And so if you all focus on the guests and the service, therefore you will be having happy people.
What's more important to the guest experience? Is it ambiance and hospitality, or is it the quality of the food?
It's everything, but the hospitality definitely creates a lot of being recognized, being into this world, you know, makes you, when you are hospitable, it creates such a good feeling that when the food comes to the table, it's better. When the ambiance, you know, everything sounds better. Yeah. We had dinner in Paris at the Bristol, and the service and the hospitality was the utmost we ever experienced. And he made the whole thing, the entire experience was magical.
Which restaurant?
The Bristol, 3-star Michelin.
Did you always have an interest in restaurants? I mean, you were born and grew up in France, correct?
Correct. In Cannes, southern France, on the French Riviera. Well, I grew up in a small village. My godfather was a maître d' for Roger Verger. My uncle was a maître d' at a restaurant called L'Oasis, was a 3-star Michelin with Houtier, Chef Houtier. But I didn't have much interest in restaurant business until I graduated from a professional diploma as an accountant. And then once I was done with this diploma, I had the option of going to school or the option of getting a job. And my father, Italian family, gave me 48 hours to find a job.
Or you were going to college.
So therefore, I decided to get into the restaurant business. I started on a Saturday sometime in June of 1988 and at 4:30 in the afternoon, and I was asked to get a bucket, get a mop, and go clean the toilets. And that was the start of a long career.
So how did you work yourself up in the biz? What happened?
So it's interesting because when I was in France and once my family found out I was going to work for this very famous chef, Roger Verger, I really was so excited. They were like, this is great. You're never going to be out of job. Everybody eats in a restaurant and you're going to be a server for the rest of your life. I'm like, okay, that sounds good to me. I worked the summer in 1988. The summer in France were not, there was not France that we know now, where the labor was, everybody was working very, very hard. And so I worked 90 days without a day off. And after 90 days of intense work and exhausting, I find myself not being very happy with my income. And certainly not being happy with all the tax I was paying. So I decided, I remember telling my mother that I didn't want to pay all those taxes. I need to find a way out. And she said, well, you got to find yourself another country. And I said, well, what do I have to do to leave this country? And she said, you have to do your military service for 1 year. At the time, that was obligatory, and you have to pay your taxes. So the next day, I went to the police department and I said, I want to join the Navy. I came back home, my family laughed and they said, oh yeah, you're never going to make it and nothing is going to happen. But I was determined to do what I had to do. So I went to the Navy in 1989 and I was lucky enough to be going on a boat that went around the world. That was the utmost traveling and it was wonderful. And although I shocked my family and everything, it was great. But when I came back, I paid my tax and I said, I will never work in France again.
Did you engage in local cuisines as you traveled with the Navy?
It was amazing. When we sail from France to the Caribbean, every fisherman boat we crossed, we bought fish from them to cook. And then the food on the boat everything was really like good food.
So you've decided you don't want to pay the taxes in France.
Correct.
And you're going elsewhere.
Correct.
Why did you pick the U.S.?
I was working for Alain Ducasse in Monaco. That was my last job in closest to France. And after that,
Well, time out.
Sure.
You leave the Navy and you go straight to Alain Ducasse in Monaco? That's a 3-star Michelin. How did you do that? I mean, what skill did you sell him?
Well, my first job was a 2-star Michelin as a busser.
That's where you clean the toilets.
That's where I clean the toilets.
So you go to the Navy and then you come back?
I come back after 1 year and 7 days, and I applied at Louis XV. Got the job
As
a food runner, and then I became a chef de rang, like a captain. But then Alain Ducasse sent me to Oxford in England to learn English.
So you're in Monaco.
Mm-hmm.
When do you move on to the States?
I moved on to the States after 2 years in London, working for 3-star Michelin restaurants. La Tante Claire with Pierre Kaufman and Nicolas Denis, who owned Nico at 90 Park Lane, was a Greek chef, passed away a few months ago. And then it was in 1993 that I called back my first boss, Roger Verger, who had a restaurant in Disney World with Paul Bocuse and Gaston Lenôtre. He said to me, hey, if you want to go to United States, we can have you go there and work there.
So you went there as a server, as a captain?
I went there as a lead server for 1 year. It was only 1 year visa, the J1, the famous visa, the cultural visa.
So then what?
Then after 1 year over there, I decided I didn't want to go back to France. So I moved to New York City with my best friend, and we started to look for jobs. Visa was about to expire a few months later, but like every French person who wants to stay in the United States, you start with New York. And so I was in New York, and I worked at La Grenouille.
Which just announced its closing.
I know.
That's an era past.
Yeah, that was a nice run for them. Then I got married and got my green card, and I kept on working in the restaurant. My last job in New York was at Le Cirque 2000 at the time.
Under Syria.
Under Cirio, yeah. Cirio Maccioni, the greatest maître d' ever.
What'd you learn there?
Hospitality. Cirio was the man who, the lunch was slow, like 100 people lunch was slow. So he used to grab the phone and he used to invite everybody he knew. Come for lunch, come for lunch, come for lunch. And then he used to come in and he used to have a lobster salad with black truffle vinaigrette, which was one of the main dish, a glass of Sancerre. And for sure, they were coming back at night. And then at night, he was getting the money back. He knew how to manage all those people, the best of New York City.
Look, there was a famous review of the restaurant. A famous writer called it A Tale of Two Restaurants, where when she went in and got recognized, Cirio treated her wonderfully. When she went in and wasn't recognized, it wasn't so great. That's kind of a trademark, or has been anyway, of so many of those New York temples of gastronomy. How do you avoid that? Or is it something you need to do because you need the bold-faced names to get in the papers eating at your place?
It's not like when you came, you were not recognized, you were not treated great, you were not treated special. Every restaurant has VIPs.
We'll be right back. How'd you work your way up? I say up. I mean, there's nothing more up, I guess, as an establishment than Le Cirque was. But how'd you work your way up to general manager of restaurants?
I was still a server, food runner, busser. And then I got a job as a maître d' at Le Bec-Fin in Philadelphia with Georges Perrier.
A great restaurant.
Great restaurant. And he just had lost the 5th star from the mobile guy. So Georges Perrier is a character in the culinary world that was very upset and wanted to regain his star and was doing everything he can to make it happen. And so they hired me to be the maître d' over there. There was a general manager, there were a couple other floor managers, but I was the maître d'. I came in, the place was tired, needed work, the staff was also they had been together for a long time and they were just going with the flow, and very, very busy place, 6 months to make reservation on a Saturday. It was incredible. But I was noticing all those things, and on one Saturday after I started, I decided to make myself the general manager. So I went to the general manager and I said to him, you're going to go and I'm going to take your job.
Well, hold on. Wasn't he your boss?
Yes.
You went to your boss and you said, get out of here. I'm going to take your job.
I'm going to take your job.
But the French were supposed to be diplomatic.
Well, it was diplomatic. It was a turmoil. It was too many things going on. It was stress. It was, So I went to Georges Perrier and I said, I am the new general manager.
You went to the owner and said, back this up. If I was general manager of Bec-Fin and my maitre d' said, hey, get out of here, I wouldn't take that well. Did he leave? Did he promote himself? What happened?
I didn't say get out.
Right. You said it's not work. Okay. And he left and you took his job?
Yeah. I mean, after that was the shock, right? Because obviously I came back for Saturday service, busy service, and I say, I am the new general manager. And this is how it's going to be. And so it was a big turmoil for a while, And
so basically, to use the French word, you staged a coup.
Coup d'etat, yeah.
And as general manager, what'd you do?
So I fixed everything I had to fix. The service was really challenged and nobody was really doing the right job. So I really put things together and hire people from France and get a great sommelier to come on board and created a team of an incredible team. We were doing a really wonderful job.
The menu was classic French, right?
Correct. It was a 4-course menu including the dessert, which it was a 27 dessert cart. It was a huge cart full of desserts and incredible desserts. And so that was, and it was 2 services, 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock. So everybody come at once, and when he leave, we come at, very French, very old school.
And from there?
The mobile guide came one day and they said to me, hey, we're doing a few things about restaurant, mobile guide star restaurant, and you have a 4-star. We wanted 5, but you have 4 stars. So we want to come tomorrow and to do a little bit of a interview with you and with Georges Perrier, Chef Georges Perrier. I said, okay. So the next day they came and to announce that we regained our star, our 5th star. And that was a huge, huge victory for us and great accomplishment.
Did they explain what it is you had done that got the star back?
No, but what we did is we stopped working on our game, and we start to work for the people and for the guests and making sure that everybody served properly.
So why'd you leave?
So, one night, 4 people came to the restaurant and they say, oh, if you're ever interested of coming to visit us in Florida, we have an hotel called the Breakers Hotel.
The Breakers in Palm Beach, yeah.
Palm Beach, yeah. They come to the Breakers and you can have fun, your family, your kids can go to camp and everything. So I'm like, yeah, I'll take the weekend. Why not? So they flew us there. My wife was at the spa, the kids were at the little camp, and I was talking to the food and beverage director and the food and beverage, the vice president, and having dinner and lunch and enjoying my family and everything. And at the end, they gave me an envelope and they said, if you're ever interested to come and work with us, here is an offer for you. So I went back to Philadelphia. I told Georges Perrier, I said, this is what they did. And he's like, I can never do that for you. This is a job that I'm too small and you're going to become vice president of the food and beverage. You'll be fine. So go. So I left and we moved to Florida with 2 kids, a dog. The Breakers Hotel is a magnificent hotel, family owned, very, very well done. It was a fine dining restaurant called L'Escalier. Wonderful people working in it. Great people, diversity, some of the employees that I work with at the Breakers ended up moving to California to work in the French Laundry. What happened is I loved it and it was wonderful, but fine dining again in Florida is not really what people are looking for. But the other things also is like working for an hotel is very different than working for a standalone restaurant. And I did not enjoy that at all.
In what respect?
Too corporate, too many red tapes, too many, it's to change a lamp, you have to call maintenance, we have to schedule it, and I wanted to change the entrance of the restaurant. And one day they come with a team, and I'm like, oh, what is it about? They say, well, you want to change the entrance, so you need to make sure it's working for everybody. I'm like, who are you guys? Oh, we are the interior design, we are the marketing. I'm like, but you never here. How do you know what we need? And I said, I don't get it. I understand you want to design it, sure, but you don't know what we need. So what is your opinion going to matter? They were great and everything, but one day we talk and I'm like, I said, it's not working for me. I'm not that guy who's going to be following rules as much. There was a gentleman named Sylvain Portet, who is to be the chef at the Ritz-Carlton in San Francisco. I used to be the chef at Le Cirque and used to be a chef at Alain Ducasse when I was there. He called me and he said, hey, Thomas Keller is looking for a GM for the French Laundry. And if you want, I'll put you in contact. So I sent my resume and I got an email a couple of days later. They said, will you be willing to relocate? I said, yeah, we'll relocate.
No, bring the French Laundry to Florida. That's my plan.
That's it. So they said, okay, great. Let's get you to Percé. You can do an interview over there.
In New York.
In New York, yeah. And we go from there. So I fly to Percé, to New York City, go to Percé, I arrive, and I was not welcome at all by the maître d' or the hostess. They were rude. I said I have a meeting with Thomas Keller. They said, well, you're too early or, he's not ready yet. And I'm like, okay, well, can I wait? So they set me down. They never didn't offer me coffee or anything. I sat in a salon and waited for a good hour. And then finally met Thomas Keller. I have a great meeting with him. And he said, well, stay tonight.
Did you say to him, hey, your people were rude to me? This is not hospitality?
No, it's to be honest, I was looking at this place, like he made it feel like it was so privileged and that I was not that privileged of a person to be able to see. And I've seen while I was waiting, I've seen people refusing people to take a peek. Can I take a peek in the dining room? No. It's only reserved for the guests. I was like, oh my God, so sad.
Was this around the time that Percé got whacked in the New York Times?
No, before. They just had opened. So I met with Thomas Keller and a great interview, and he's telling me exactly what I want to hear, and I tell him exactly what he wants to hear, and
So you were both lying to each other?
Yeah, we were. And he said to me, stay tonight, observe service, have dinner in a kitchen. Corey Lee was the chef at the time over there, cooking, and eventually became the chef at the French Laundry. And it was great, and everybody was super wonderful, and, giving you at the chef table on the side over there was wonderful. And the next day I came, I met with Laura, and same thing, great meeting, great relationship.
With who?
Laura Cunningham, which was the first general manager of the French Laundry, and the one who really partner of Thomas Keller. After that, I met with the accountant, I met with the general manager of Percé, and I met with a recruiter who was doing a bunch of stuff. And then they shake my hand and say, thank you very much. Your car is waiting for you to take you to the airport. And that was it. Nothing, no, we call you, we keep in touch, nothing. So I went back to Florida and I was like, okay. And a couple of days later, the general manager of Percé called me and he said, we would like to make you an offer to become the maître d' at Percé. And I said, oh, I thought I was going to be the general manager of the French Laundry. I was applying for that. He said, yeah, but French Laundry is not ready. And here is a job. If you want it, you can come and you can fight for the general manager position. And the maître d' position is a tip position. I'm like, I've not been on tip for years. And I'm sorry, I'm going to decline. I'm disappointed. I'm going to decline the position. And maybe 2 months later, the French Laundry called me and they're like, they are ready now to have you coming for an interview. I'm like, really? Are you sure? They say, yes, we're going to fly you. We're going to fly your wife.
Back in a moment.
Day before, I observed service, talked to Thomas, talked to Corey Lee, talked to Laura again, talked to CFO, everyone, had dinner at the French Laundry with my wife. Same thing. They come in, they're like, okay, thank you very much. Have a safe trip. And nothing. So we go back to Palm Beach. I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen. But a few days later, they call me and they're like, okay, we would like to make you an offer, but we do have a few questions. One is like, during the service, you did not make any comment about the service. You did not do anything about the service. And so we were wondering, you didn't see anything? There was nothing wrong? I'm like, who am I to tell the French Laundry, you guys are doing wrong things? I'm just here one day. What do I know? I know nothing. So yeah, no, there was nothing wrong. They said, oh, really? I said, yeah. I said, what do we tell you? You guys are doing wrong stuff? And you guys are the best restaurant in the world. I said, okay, well, we're just expecting you to give us a little bit more insight. I said, no, I have no insight. I'm sorry, but if you were expecting me to give you dirt on your restaurant, I'm not the guy. So they sent me an offer and I accepted it, obviously. And I joined the team on July 2005. As soon as I accepted the job, my wife became pregnant. So we arrived in Napa, and my first thing I said is to Thomas Keller, I say, hey, my wife is pregnant, by the way. So just wanted to let you know. But he's like, oh, okay, wonderful. Let's get you connected with all the doctors around here. And our third son was born in St. Helena Hospital, which was an incredible place. But then working at the French Laundry was an incredible experience. It took me 2 years to get comfortable. took me 2 years to get myself feeling good about the job, to understand everything, to go through all the stuff. Such an intense machine.
It was at the time ranked the best restaurant in the world in one of those surveys.
Right.
Was there anything to fix?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, what do you fix? The best restaurant in the world. And so there was things to fix because Per Se had just opened. And then French Laundry was depleted of all the people. So we were rehiring people. So as we were rehiring people because of Napa Valley and everything, we didn't hire everybody to be a superstar. We hired whoever was coming on board. And so when I came in, there was a little bit of housekeeping to do, and there was making sure we maintained the expectation. But to know the expectation, you have to spend time. Regardless of your experience or not, a restaurant is different everywhere. And you can't just be like, oh, this one is the same than Louis XV in Monaco. No.
What does a general manager do? The French Laundry is famous for the cooking of Thomas Keller.
Mm-hmm.
One would not think off the top of your head, hey, that's because of the general manager. The place is great. What are your duties there? What did you do to help the French Laundry remain the French Laundry?
Well, you are responsible for everything. And that's the greatest thing with Thomas Keller is he'll let you do your job. So you sign off of the budget. You sign off of the team. You do all the hiring and the firing and the coaching and the training, and you do everything. So you are in charge.
Do you have to draw limits on the chef if he wants to buy an ingredient, for example, and you look at the budget and I'm not sure we have room for that?
Well, fortunately, this is a restaurant that does not need to have anybody overlooking at. We bought food, truffles, white truffles, and greatest meat, and it was never an issue because the business was so consistent. French Laundry it's a restaurant at the end of the day, but there is no Saturday, there is no Sunday, there is no Mondays. It's always the same thing. And that's the beauty of it. And the consistency is incredible.
To what do you attribute that?
Well, you are part of representing the French Laundry everywhere and inside. The chef is cooking, and you are in the dining room and you represent the food, and all the staff has to be trained to represent the food. The menu change every day. There's a meeting, there is a coaching, there is teaching, and everything, and it's very, very intense, and you don't make mistake. Little mistakes are very quickly becoming challenges because it's a one-time dinner. It's a lifetime. It's a bucket list. And so you come in and you might have a bad experience. You can't afford to do that. So everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be done to the best that we can. Yeah. Every day.
So how long were you at the French Laundry?
Almost 7 years.
Why'd you leave?
I always wanted to get my own place and do my own thing. And so at one point in 7 years, we had gained a few years before 2008, we gained a 3-star Michelin, which was an incredible experience. And I was like, okay, now maybe I can do something else. So I talked to Thomas about moving, and he's like, okay, well, not too sure about stuff. But anyway, I called Georges Perrier from Philadelphia. And I said, hey, if you are ready to sell your restaurant, maybe I can see if I can buy it. And George was getting tired, and the restaurant I did not keep the things that he was supposed to keep, and it kind of was going down it a bit. So somebody did offer to invest in the restaurant and did all the things. So we're like, okay, let's do it. So, but the departure from the French Laundry was not a good one. And I ended up arguing with Thomas and not living in good term. And that's something that I was very upset that I didn't want to happen, but I made it happen. And I took every responsibility for it, but that was not what I wanted.
Have you reconciled, I hope?
Yes. I left the French Laundry in 2012 and went to own Le Bec-Fin. And that I opened the door in June of 2012, and by February 2013, I was kicked out. Restaurant had failed. It was a disaster.
Why?
Oh, I was so stubborn. I was like, nope, we're going to do it this way. It's going to be a pre-filled menu. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Nothing worked. And people told me, I was like, no, it's going to work. Don't worry about it. Nothing. We tried, but nothing. And it very, very quickly, so I was kicked out of the restaurant by the investor, and find myself from the greatest job in America in hospitality to be nothing. Lost everything.
So What'd you do next?
Contacted a gentleman that I knew from Napa Valley, was working for a Japanese group, a very, very successful Japanese group in Japan, to help out understand the American hospitality or the American restaurant business in United States as a French guy. So it was, but they like me. They sent me to Japan for a few weeks to learn omotenashi, the hospitality, and they were wonderful, and it was great. It was very, very different. And at the end of the day, it was the only one after my defeat of Thomas Keller and Le Bec-Fin that really gave me a shot.
So you were a consultant for them or what?
I was the director of operation and helping out. You know, we went to Miami and we looked at property to get. And then one day they say, oh, we sign up with this place in LA. We're going to put $10 million in this restaurant. It's be called Pelly's. And so we're looking for somebody to go there. So if you know anybody, and I was in New York and the East Coast was not really working for us. So I said, well, maybe I'll go. And they're like, oh, if you want to go, that'd be great. So they sent me there with my family and we moved to Beverly Hills for the kids' school. And I was working in Hollywood and restaurant was delayed in opening and it took a while to be open. But every day we went and we prepared everything and we reviewed. We went to Japan a little bit more to get more experience in the day business. And then we came back. And when we came back, the CFO and COO, they didn't really care for me and they decided that I was not going to make it. They said, putting pressure on my work and really making it difficult for me to do my job. So one day I said, hey guys, if you want me to quit, I go. Did that work out?
Is it because you were stubborn?
No.
Okay.
No, this time is because the group, the individuals did not care for my part of the job or my personality.
So what happened next?
So I'm let go from that place and I get a phone call from Thomas Keller. He said, hey, you are in LA. Do you want to talk? And I'm like, yeah. So he said, well, Bouchon here is struggling and he's been struggling for a while now. And we are looking for somebody to take over and you might be the right person. So in 2016, I became the general manager of Bouchon and reunited with Thomas Keller, which was for me a huge deal. I started to work over there back home, kind of, working for Thomas Keller Restaurant Group and doing my things. But the restaurant was challenged. The restaurant was very, very difficult. And he ended up closing its door at the end of 2017. The restaurant was too big and when we closed the restaurant, Thomas said, the first day we opened this restaurant, I look at the ceiling and I'm like, the ceiling is just too high. And it was too high. Everything was too high. Everything was too hard. Everything was too long.
Food was great.
Food was great.
So then, did you open your own restaurant?
I announced the closure of the restaurant and those people who come to the restaurant, those guests, one of them come and is like, what are you going to do? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm looking for a job. And they say, well, you want to talk to us? We have something you might be interested. We have a location in Malibu. There's a space for a restaurant. We'll help you out with the financing of everything and be great. Wonderful people. And so I go see the location and yeah, why not? Let's make the jump, right? So we do it and we start the process of taking over the space. And what's happening is, first of all, it took way longer than expected to get even permitted. And then the life happened with the fires in 2018, I believe. Yeah, 2018. There was huge fire, closed Malibu for a while, permit issues. Next thing you knew, we were out of cash. And no restaurant finished. So I decided to go downtown LA to a commissary and talk to the guys over there and say, I'm looking to rent a food truck to operate in Malibu. The guy said to me, yeah, it's $1,600 a month and you bring the truck back every day. So we went to the food truck and on December 19, 2018, we showed up with my family in the front of the restaurant with a 1984 Chevy food truck and we started cooking there. And people came to the truck and they're like, oh, you guys are going to be opening this restaurant. And they say, wow, this is the greatest marketing tools you can ever do, and everybody was super happy. And people were hiring us to do events, birthdays and open house for real estate.
Wait. So the general manager of two Thomas Keller restaurants was now running a food truck?
Was cooking in a food truck.
You're not a chef.
No, I became a chef.
This is the restaurant that became Nicolas Eatery?
Yeah. So the food truck ran for 9 months. And we fed 5 people out of this food truck. My family, we lived on this food truck, and we worked 6 days a week, and great support from the local, great support from the landlord, but we did our part. In September of 2019, we opened our doors. Nicolas, I was cooking. My son was serving. My wife was cooking. And today we opened our doors. There was a line.
Because of the food truck.
Because of the food truck. Everybody was so excited. And then they came in and it was wonderful. And they came at night and it was packed. And like, oh, we're so happy. You guys are packed. It's okay. That's okay. Don't worry. We don't have a table. It's okay. We come back. So that was very exciting.
Is Malibu a good restaurateur? I would think not.
Not at all. Not at all, no. But we were doing our great job and it was working well. And we ended up to finish our the year of 2019. We had a private event from a rich family who bought the restaurant for New Year's Eve, and spent a ton of money. And so we started 2020. It was wonderful. And really the month of February was the best month we did. And we are definitely doing very well. And we know it was coming up. And then COVID happened, 2020. So March 15, 2020, like everybody else, we closed our doors and we tied up our ship. We let go all the staff. And the next day, my son and I showed up at 8 a.m. in the restaurant and we opened on to go with our mask and did our COVID things.
You survived. Many other restaurants did not.
We survived because we were a family, because everybody was working together. Yeah. And we had the help, the PPP loan and everything that was really helpful. But then we reopened our doors. 2021 was okay. And then 2022 became more and more challenging. Malibu, from 13,000 people living in it, became 8,000 people. And they were all living on the other side of Malibu. Business was really, really going down. And we were named best restaurant in Malibu and favorite restaurant, but didn't work yet.
So you moved the restaurant? You closed in Malibu? And
we had we had to open 2 other restaurants. We were in position to do it. We had the staff. So we opened one in Wooden Hill in the Valley, a French bistro called The Bistro. And then Nicolas at the Beverly Center on the 6th floor.
You're not serving Michelin 3-star food at a shopping center, are you?
No, not at all. At the center, we are serving a French-Vietnamese menu.
How'd you get to that?
In Malibu, a Vietnamese chef we sponsored her to come from Vietnam. A lady, which is a very talented chef who has worked all of life in Vietnam. So she came in. And she's running the operation for us at the Beverly Center. But she makes the best pho soup ever.
Why, after years in haute cuisine, why'd you decide you wanted the menu to be heavily Vietnamese? Do you have experience with that?
No, but French and Vietnamese food there's a lot of connection. So when we worked together in Malibu, the French and Vietnamese food was working very well. Opening a fine dining restaurant at that time is not now the goal. Yeah. Fine dining, it's very difficult to accomplish, and it might be happening in the future, but not right now.
Well, fine dining, there are many chefs who tell me fine dining as a category is at risk.
Well, restaurant is a risk. This morning, it was a list of restaurant closing stuff.
Why do you think that is? Is it just pricing?
Well, yeah, the economy, the cost of food, and the cost of food is very, very high, all the insurance and minimum wage and everything. It's a lot to take on.
But tell me about Du Bistro. That seems to me that's a traditional French menu, correct?
Very French bistro, super traditional food, very good food, well executed by our chef. He's James Beard nominee. It's price right, great hospitality. Great hospitality.
What's on the menu? What are the traditional dishes I would find?
Onion soup, roasted chicken, escargot, steak frites.
What cut of steak do you use for steak frite?
Hanger steak.
Hanger.
Been very challenging to find the right price with the right quality. Yeah, to find the right butcher. It's a big challenge.
Have you found them?
We did. Yeah. But it's a lot to pull on and a lot of back and forth, between pricing and between quality and making sure that we get what we need.
I'm noticing you have an item, brisket on daube?
Daube is a summer stew. So in the summertime, you don't do a bœuf bourguignon, you do a daube de bœuf. And we use brisket.
I've never had that.
Yeah, it's great. It's lighter than a wintry stew.
Is French food still the yardstick?
French food is the base.
Hold on. According to your bio, you come from a family that is ancestrally both French and Italian. And a lot of Italians will tell you theirs is the better cuisine.
No, not me. No, I'd stay French.
What do you think about the future of dining in America? Are we all going to be eating Impossible burgers?
No, but we see, like we live, my sons and I, wife, we are in the business and we see the life of the restaurant and who is around us and we meet people. And right now, everybody is struggling. Everybody is hold on tight, and making sure that we're going through this wave, and we are, but that's what's going to happen. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, but you gotta stay with the local. We gotta be supporting local businesses. Small businesses, huge corporation and everything like that, it's okay. But the priority of dining for a local person is to go to a local place.
Well, the chains are killing independent restaurants.
The chains have so much more ways to attract talent. They have so much more ways to do more things, but they're also lacking hospitality. I mean, you go to a chain restaurant, you just execute it and you go through it and that's it, you're done, But if you go to a local restaurant, there's plenty in Woodland Hills and every one of them are really, really working on the service, on the hospitality, on the quality of food, yeah.
How do you get Americans back to restaurants?
We live in a location that is a bit more privileged, but we just do what we do best. We just, keep doing our work and we're trying to we do dinners, we create events and we have DJs and brunches and stuff, but at the end of the day, we are doing our job.
And very well at that.
For sure, trying.
Nicolas, thank you so much for chatting with me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, David.
Best of luck going forward.
All right. Take care.
Nicolas Fanucci on Culinary Characters on Lock. I'm David Page, and I'll see you next time.